recording. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our enrichment series tonight. Really excited to bring this panel to you tonight. Those of you that don't know me, I think I know most of you, but my name is Stacy McGrath and I am the volunteer event chair for the Pan Ohio Hope Ride. It's a total honor to work with our executive committee, all of our planning committees, and work very closely with the American Cancer Society staff partners to put together this event. And we're excited tonight to hear from some amazing fundraisers that I really hope are just going to get us all excited and inspired to get out there and really hit the ground running with our fundraising. So a couple of quick reminders before we get into that. We are going to be doing some raffles at the end of the evening. So Kristen Hudson, our Columbus area staff partner, is going to be taking attendance tonight. If you have a name on your Zoom that's iPhone or something, or someone that Kristen doesn't know, she may be reaching out to you through a direct message to get your name. So if you are here tonight just for attending tonight, all registered participants, whether they're riders or volunteers that are signed up as supporters, will get 2 incentive points. And we're going to have a raffle at the end of the evening for 5 additional incentive points. And if you're not familiar with our incentive point program, it's a way to earn points throughout the year that you can exchange for some really awesome swag items later. And if you're a guest tonight, we have a raffle specially for you as well. We'll be pulling a name from all of our guests this evening that are not yet registered Pan Ohio participants, and you're going to win some awesome Pan Ohio swag. So don't be surprised if Kristen reaches out to you to get your name and make sure we know who you are. If you invited someone that's here as a guest tonight, you're going to get an extra entry in that raffle as well. So with that, we will have some general event announcements and news after the panel, but I want to make sure we have plenty of time for our awesome panelists to share all their great fundraising tips and tricks. So I'm going to turn it over. Actually, sorry, before we start that, we do like to start each event with a spotlight on one of our featured riders or volunteers to hear, why we ride, why we volunteer, why we're involved in the Pan Ohio Hope Ride. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over. I'm really excited to hear from this month's featured supporter, our volunteer SAG leader, member of our executive committee, longtime volunteer with us, Susie Lawrence. So I'm going to stop my share so we can all focus on Susie's screen and just hear a little bit about her story and why she volunteers her time and talents for the Pan Ohio Hope Ride every year. So Susie, take it away.
Hi, can you guys all see me okay? I'm not a big fan of these video things. I'm always in the car. Well, hi, I'm Susie Lawrence. Most of you recognize me from driving around the Ohio countryside. If you're new, welcome. I've been part of the Pan Ohio Hope Ride now. This will be my 9th year. I was a SAG driver for many years before I took over co-leading it with my partner in crime, Matt Nickerson. And together we just make sure the cars are in the right spots along the routes. We're out there to help the riders. They're fully fueled with water, Gatorade, food. We even have tubes, pumps, anything to help the riders along the way. Sometimes we lend a helping hand and give a ride from one place to the next. Sometimes it's a water stop. Sometimes it's all the way to the lunch stop, depending on what the situation is. Or maybe it's just to Bike Source or whoever the mechanic of the day is. So that's pretty much what we do. Why I do it? Oh, geez. Lots of reasons. Well, I mean, who likes cancer, right? I think all of us have been affected in one way or another, either directly, either by family, by friends. Everybody's story sounds very similar. Mine's no different. My grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, they've all had cancer. My cousin just died of cancer. My cousin's my age. He's 42 years old. I know I look like I'm 25, but I am 42, and he was diagnosed with testicular cancer 10 years ago, and he survived that. And then was diagnosed with a very rare bile duct cancer. He didn't make it through the year and died the day after Christmas. So, this year's a little bit different because my cousin was probably the closest of all my cousins to me. So he will be with us along the way. I've had friends diagnosed with breast cancer. They've all survived. I'm just tired. I'm tired of cancer. I'm tired of it affecting my life. I'm tired of it affecting my friends' lives. And whatever I can do to help take that message to the next level, whether it's, through the time I donate, the money that I raise with my husband, who is a 10th year cyclist. He's crazier than I am. I'd rather be behind the wheel of a car supporting you all. That's where I'm a little on the lazy side. But honestly, that's why I volunteer. That's why I'm on the committees. That's why I do everything that I can to make this ride as comfortable for the riders as possible. As much fun. I'm out there, with cowbells. I dress crazy. I make fun of everyone, and maybe this year I'll have a water gun. I don't know. You never know with me what I'll bring to the road, but I'm always out there to help and support as however I can. Anything else you want me to talk about?
No, and I just want to say, I want to make one correction to what you just said, Susie. You are not lazy. I'll tell you, Daryl and I, for the first time since 2008, I did not ride last year. Daryl and I were in a car for volunteering for all 4 days, and it's just as exhausting to be in a car all day. So not lazy. We so appreciate you and all of the other amazing volunteers that make it possible for the riders to just get out there and ride bikes. And so, thank you so much for your commitment and dedication. It's the farthest thing from lazy, what you volunteers do out there all day. You're usually out there before the riders leave in the morning and usually getting back after the last riders are in at night. So definitely thank you for making it possible for us. We appreciate your passion and dedication so much. Super sorry to hear about your cousin's loss. And yeah, I think we could all echo your thoughts there that we're tired of cancer. So really honored to be able to do something about it alongside all of you. So thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Another round of applause for Susie for sharing, for supporting, and for just being there for all of us. Really appreciate it. So with that, obviously I'm excited to get to our panelists tonight because I need some fundraising tips because I'm feeling a little behind on my own fundraising this year. With that, I do have a couple of photos. I'm going to introduce our hosts tonight, and then I'm going to let our hosts introduce our panelists. Our panelists can share a little bit about themselves, and then they can take it away. So our wonderful hosts, the Team Beard, Jeff Darple and Bill Wolahan, I'm going to turn it over to the two of you. You can introduce our panelists, and then we will, again, click off the presentation so everyone can focus on seeing everyone's faces and go from there. So over to you, Jeff and Bill, take it away.
All right, thanks, Stacy, and thanks, Susie. That was awesome. And really, it's best if we don't need you, but it's great to know you're there when we do. SAG is a very important part of this ride, and we all appreciate what you do. So thanks again.
Absolutely.
So we have 3 panelists tonight, and they're all pretty good fundraisers. So they've got a lot to tell us. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. We'll start with Paul Musso from Turtle Herd. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you, whatever you want to tell us. You're muted, Paul.
You're on mute, Paul.
Thanks. I'm Paul Moose. Live up in the Cleveland market, Cuyahoga Falls. So this will be my 12th year doing the Pan Ohio Hope Ride. And my son actually got me back into cycling years ago when he was in high school, and talked us into joining my brother-in-law, who's also on the call with us, Owen Herlihy, in the MS 150 ride. And did that a couple of years. And there was a year I couldn't do it because of a conference, was looking for something else, saw this and thought, this is just nuts. It's insane to ride a bike to Cincinnati, but it looked like fun. And I kept going back and forth, decided to join, and just have loved the ride ever since. And, great cause, great people, and really enjoying the ride. So I'm the captain of the Turtle Herd. It's friends, family, just groups from several different areas that have come together. So we have a great team. So if you're looking for a team, you're welcome to join us.
Cool. Thanks, Paul. Mark Taft, you want to take it over? Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Mark Taft. This will be my 10th year riding with Pan Ohio. I did the first several years by myself, and then joined up with a bunch of crazies called Kicking the Asphalt Out of Cancer, and kind of an eclectic group that's been collected from all over the place. I actually live in Palm Harbor, Florida, and so I commute up there now every year to do this ride. My fundraising has gone up every year. I have raised about $120,000 in the 9 years that I've ridden, and I thought I was going to win it last year, but somebody snuck in at the last minute to overtake me. But yeah, this ride is really important to me. I also started my first year when I was bicycling on the MS ride. And then I saw this thing and said, geez, that does sound kind of crazy. And I want to see if I can do that. So the first year I didn't raise very much money at all. But once I got in with this crowd and listened to what they all had to say and learn more about what we do, this is my #1 fundraiser for the year, and something that I basically talk to people about all the time. And there are many, many people out there who the first thing they think of when they talk to me is this ride. So yeah, glad to share anything I can to help you all out there tonight.
Great. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Sean, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you, Bill. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean McLean. I've been involved with POHR since 2011, and excuse me, well, I've probably told the story to other people before, but my involvement started back in 11. Mike Hametry, he was a longtime rider himself. He told me about this ride he discovered and was raving about. And when I found out about what was involved, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's just a long time on a bike and in that short of time. But at the time I was doing a lot of running. I was getting myself in better shape. So this felt like a challenge for me to do. So I did my first ride back in 2011 on a hybrid bike, not exactly the bike you want to use for this type of ride, but lessons learned. I got through it, then rode every mile. Took a break in 12 because I did the Cleveland Triathlon that year. And 13, 14, and beyond, I've been a rider ever since, even back in 2020 when we were doing the Do Your Own 328 version. So this ride represents a lot to me. My grandparents, unfortunately, both passed away from cancer. I've had many friends, many people I've known over the years that have been affected by cancer. And this kind of became almost like a calling card to me to be involved and keep pushing myself to not only be a rider and do whatever I can, but also in the fundraising aspect. And I guess I really have not been that good of a fundraiser until the last several years. I'm now a 3-time Dynamo fundraiser, which I never thought I would get to that point, but I guess, well, here I am. But just it's this event, and I'm kind of talking too much here, but just this event is awesome. And I can't say more than that.
Well, Sean, since you mentioned it, you started off struggling the first few years to raise money, and then you became a Dynamo. So how did you start, and what did you do to bump that money up?
Really, it's just finding different avenues that's going to work. I mean, fundraising, it's experimentation. And like a lot of things, really, you have to find out what works, find out what doesn't work. And then once you find the way that works, you kind of build upon it and go with it. And the other thing too, which will be discussed too as well, is just getting over the scaredness of asking people for donations. I kind of equate it to asking the girl out on a date. I kind of equate it the same way. Once you get over that initial scaredness of asking her out, I mean, the worst they can say is no, similar to fundraising as well too. But just get over that initial fright about fundraising, and then just experimenting with different things. I did a few of the donate and dine things. I found some were good. I came across one that was better with Melt, because Melt will allow me to use all the Melt locations across Ohio for fundraising that day, and it was a good turnout. And luckily for me, I work with a lot of great people over at the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, and they're very generous. Unfortunately, they don't have a matching option that a lot of companies do, but our our vice president was open about letting me reach out to people about the ride and ask for donations. And this group of people have been incredibly generous as far as the cause and doing it every year as well. And it's just finding your avenue, keep experimenting, just trying different things. And just, like I said, don't be scared and just do it like this thing here.
Cool, thanks, Sean. So my question for ever done best for money makers.
Anybody else having trouble hearing Jeff?
Yeah, I think you may need to translate that Jeff speak for us. As well.
Yeah, he's
I
breaking up a
didn't
little
hear
bit.
anything.
Sorry, Jeff, you're breaking up a bit.
I heard.
Uh,
That's all I heard.
We'll get back to you, Jeff. Let's see. Okay, let's put this out there because I'm sure a lot of people are gonna ask this. What are some of your easiest fundraising ideas? Let's throw that one to Paul.
My easiest really is email. And the way I do my email is everyone will get at least 3 emails from me. But I need some help with this. If I can I get a couple volunteers to help me with something here real quick? Just raise your hand. Okay, got a couple. Susan, could you do me a favor? Are you able to help me? Just put a thumbs up if you can. Okay, great. Now, thanks, you're all done helping me. Real key point about the email. One is I send emails to all of my contacts, but they are personalized emails. Just like here, when I ask, hey, can anybody help me? A couple people raise your hand. But if you turn around and ask someone specifically, they will in many ways help you where the blasts won't. Now, ACS does a great thing with the email. You can send out blasts. It comes from a service and makes it real easy, but the effectiveness is a lot less. What I will do is I will copy and paste and just send that same email to a whole bunch of people, but at the top it'll say, John and Sarah or Bill, and I talk about it. So I have my story in there, a little bit about what I'm doing, the fact that I'm sitting on this little tiny hard seat for 4 days straight over 328 miles. And it's addressed to an individual. And I've found that when and very much like Sean, I started out just kind of raising what I needed to, and it's continually grown. But when I ask individually, I get a much better response from that. And email is a really good way to do it if it's done personally.
I'm going to try again. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
That was actually my question for you, Paul. So, Bill, thank you for reading my mind.
We've ridden together way too much.
I apologize for the technical difficulties here. I don't know what's going on, but so we've talked about, I'm moving on to the next question here. How about some creative fundraising ideas? Mark Taft, you got any creative fundraising ideas, some super creative ones that have worked well for you?
I guess I'm just going to build on what Paul said, because I get 90% of my contributions via email. I guess the one thing in addition, sort of along the same lines of personalization. I mean, if you have known me in your life, you are likely to get contacted by me. So when I contact people that I went to high school, I may remind them of someone that we went to high school with that has battled this disease. And of course, I always ask that person if it's okay to do that beforehand. Same thing with my fraternity brothers in college and the folks that I have worked with throughout the 40 years I've been with my company. And then, of course, if you can get them to donate once, then asking them if there's someone in their life that you can ride for is a way to personalize it for them. And the thing that frankly has worked the best for me in terms of keeping people coming back every year is I write to them every day of the ride and tell them what went on during the ride. who I met, crazy things that happened. And I've had so many people come back to me and say that that makes them feel like they are part of the event. And they come back every year. So to me, like I said, 90% of my fundraising is on email and the other 10% is on Facebook because I don't have everybody's email. And that's what I do.
I like that idea, Mark. So what do? You just create like an email with everybody's email address in it and send it out to them at the end of the day?
So yes, yeah, during the event, yes.
You give them an update
With
on
pictures and, people, like I said, people that we met, people might have spoke, and then just crazy things that happened during the day with some crazy pictures. And of course, when you're riding with the team that I ride with, that's not that hard to do.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, there's always crazy stuff going on during the ride. It makes it a lot of fun.
Yep.
Sean, you have some creative ideas. Let's tell us some of the things that you've done.
Well, probably my most creative idea, and I borrowed this from two riders in particular. To give a little backstory, back in 19, that's when we were close to our $1 million fundraising goal. It was after the ride, I felt I had to keep doing something to help generate the funds to get us the $1 million. And what I came up with for the month of August was called the 5 Ohio Hope Ride. And what I did was I combined the streak that Brian Bortz does. Brian is now on his second long streak. So Brian, kudos, you're crazy as hell, but that's awesome, man. So I borrowed his streak of riding every day in August. And plus Nick Ola, if we all Nick Ola, his motto was 5 more miles. So what I did was I rode at least 5 miles every day in the month of August. And there was times I did a lot more. Sometimes I just did the 5, just depending on what was going on in the day. And that was actually that's how I became Dynamo for the first time. I think I might have been the first person to hit Dynamo on the very last day of fundraising. It was amazing, and it came from really a lot of the riders that year too. Just people on the Pan Ohio family were just amazed by what I was doing to keep going. And last day I was doing 55 miles, and I'll be honest with you, I don't ride that much in August because I'm usually preparing for running at that point. But I got through it, and I was tired, and luckily I was, from the grace of God and grace of everybody on this family and other people, I got to my goal. And before that, we all got to the $1 million fundraising thing, which, to be honest with you, that was my big goal. I want us to get to that point. The Dynamo became secondary after we hit the $1 million. I figured, I'm to that point. And I actually can thank Kathleen Bond for that, because she was the one during our last get together of that season. She was pushing for everybody to donate. So that was really my most creative fundraising aspect, was just to keep going and just let people know what I'm doing. So.
Yeah, that $1 million year was great, and I think everybody felt it. And as we got close to it, we all kind of pitched in to get there, and we're going to do that again this year. I have a feeling we're gonna kick it. We're gonna really get it this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. So let's kick it back to Mark. What do you tell people who say no?
What do I tell people that say no? I don't know if I've ever had anybody tell me no. I guess if I don't get a response, quite often the request gets more and more personal. And even to the point where I may call the person and ask them if they've seen my emails. And usually, it's not that they didn't want to do it. It's that everybody's busy and they forget. And so I reach out to them more personally if I don't get a response. I guess that's the way I address that. Plus, they do get, I think Paul mentioned this earlier, I think I will contact them 4 times before the ride. And of course, they get an email from me every day of the ride. And then, of course, an email after the ride, giving them one last chance. So I do try to be persistent in that way.
Paul, do you have a lot of people who say no?
Not directly, usually. And going back to what Mark said too, I tell everybody about it. You know, we have such a great story to tell because what we do is nuts when you think about it. You know, and it's a great conversation starter. What are you guys up to this summer? Well, I'm trying to get in shape for this ride or ride a bike from Cleveland to Cincinnati. What are you, crazy? Yeah, pretty much, but here's why. And then it's a great just story to tell. And I think it's important to tell the story, and that, you know, it is so much more than, and I know there's other great walks and people do their thing and that's great, but you know, doing a relay walk or, you know, a 5K, I can't ride a 5 or run a 5K. I'd die if I tried, but I can ride. But the whole concept of riding from Cleveland to Cincinnati is a great story to tell. And, you know, I tell people that, and I'll tell everybody. And, you know, some people will donate. And in my email, actually, I ask them, hey, if not everybody's able to donate, great. But I ask if you can donate, great. If not, hey, say a prayer for us. When it's a long ride, you know, help us be safe, make sure we're able to make it. Just, you know, or your support would be appreciated there. So it keeps people involved. You know, I don't get responses from everybody right away. And sometimes I don't hear from them, but like Mark said, I send 4 emails, 3 up front, all personalized. So one asking for their donation to their name, a second one then later on reminding them. Sometimes I'll do a third, but then I also right before the ride do a big thank you, so to blast it out to everybody, the people who donated and the ones who don't, just saying thanks for all your support. Here's what we're able to do. You know, this is where we're ending up and all that. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance, well, here's the way. So it's kind of a soft last chance. And I've found that when I talk to people, they haven't responded, and I see them and they say, oh yeah, you know what? I remember you sent me that link. Can you send me another one? Because like Mark said, I get busy. I see something, I'm going to get to that later, and I completely forget. So reminding them is not a problem, but it keeps it in front of them. And every time I get additional one. On the flip side of that, though, as was mentioned by Mark or Sean, thank them immediately. When I get a donation in, they get a personal email that thanks them for that. It's a lot of, you know, copy and paste, use the same thing, maybe tweak it a little bit to talk about their kids or whatever, but they get an immediate thank you. And then a thank you, of course, after the ride as well. My top donors get a written thank you. And give you an example of that, my brother-in-law sent me a text about his brother that was doing a fundraiser in Europe, over in London. So he had not a big goal. I made a contribution, was a significant percentage of his goal, but it wasn't huge. And told him who I was. I didn't have no clue who this person is. I've never met him before. So, you know, told him it's coming from the United States and his brother-in-law's, or his brother's brother-in-law, all this stuff. Sent it off to him. It's kind of expected something saying, hey, cool, this is my first thing from the United States or whatever. Radio silence, never heard. So it really doesn't motivate me to turn around and do that again. So, you know, there's no response. So it's very imperative to get a personal thank you for the donation right up front. That keeps people involved. And what Mark had said, just one last thing too here, getting them involved with the event is important. So one of the things I do is I use the ribbons that you have, and I will let them know that, you know, we're riding for these people. If they want someone honored on the ride with either in memory of or in honor of, if they're battling or passed away from cancer, please let me know. I'll write their name on the ribbon, share that through the ride. And if you look at my page, my personalized page, there's a picture of my jersey with a bunch of those ribbons on it. So again, it gets their loved one then involved with the ride and ties them in. And I have people doing this year after year after year. So I have people that continue to donate, and then you get new people all the time. And like Sean said, I started out kind of at the minimum, and it continues to grow because you take care of that base that you're working with.
Cool, thanks, Paul. Let me take this next question, Bill. And Sean, I'm going to toss it your way if you don't mind. And if
Bring it-
anybody,
bring-
either of you other guys want to pitch in, feel free to. Do you provide any additional bonuses to your donors to keep them informed and entertained along the way throughout your fundraising efforts?
Well, if anybody knows me, I'm kind of a goofball anyways, and I try to put as much humor into my posts and to my emails as much as I possibly can. Really, Facebook is, as far as good, like progress, as far as how things are going, Facebook has been the big one that I will use. Another thing I will use is the email system within the website. And that's really was the bigger one that I discovered has been helping me out, is that unfortunately it is a little clunky still. And I have to talk to Sarah about this offline here, but it's a weird thing. Whenever I do emails, I have to save it and it'll kick me out. Then I go back into it and then it sends. So, but what I do is during the emails, I'll put like little anecdotes or little sayings or little like stupid things to let people know it's me that's doing this. And then along the way, I'm telling them, hey, we're up to here. We're up to here for fundraising. We're almost to the ride. We're almost to day one. We're on day two. We're on day three. We're on day four. It just, for me, it's trying not to be generic about things, just kind of have your own little spin about things. I like having humor in my stuff and just let people know, hey, I'm having fun while I'm doing this.
Cool. Mark or Paul, any thoughts?
I'm not near as creative as Sean, but my way of keeping people involved is with those ribbons, and again, the thank yous and the follow up. I will try to get something out. Typically, don't during the ride, but definitely after, with what happened and some of the things that went on.
I'm pretty much the same. I mean, I do send thank yous personally to everyone immediately, and usually try to put a special message in there, either for the person that they have asked me to ride for, or some other personal thing that we share. And then those 4 blasts to go out, give an update on where we are in terms of making the goal, both for myself and for the team and for the overall ride. So I think people trying to keep them informed along the way. And again, it's really acting as a reminder for folks that have set the email aside, said, I'm going to do that on the weekend, and then they forget about it. And that's what I find more than anything is why I don't get a response, is that people really do want to, but yeah, they're all busy. So you got to find creative ways to remind them. So, and I've never, ever had anybody tell me, stop sending me these emails.
Do you guys find that a lot of your donations come from the same repeat customers every year?
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you're all
It's a
shaking your
growing
head,
group. It's a growing group,
Yeah.
but yeah, absolutely.
And
There are people that I have not talked to in 5 years that moved on to other jobs and other careers, and they still give to me every year.
And for me, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about experimenting with different things and different people. And then eventually you find those people that are those great donors, and then you keep going back to them every year. And because they understand the cause, they too have been affected by cancer. I mean, God, who hasn't been affected by cancer in this world? So like I said, just knowing, I guess, the audience, knowing the people that you know will support you and the cause, and then every year just saying, hey, I'm doing this again. Can do you have my back for this? Or like I said, and like I said, in most cases they always every year come and donate again. And also to kind of piggyback off of Paul and Mark, what they were saying before, I do make sure to thank everybody like right away. For me, I like using email, or if I don't have the phone number, I actually will text them as well too. I'm actually not a I used to do the thank yous on Facebook, but I think doing it directly to like email or text messages, or even the Facebook Messenger, I actually use, that's one thing I use Messenger for, is that, to be honest with you. I think just having that direct thank you to them really means a lot, and that's how they keep coming back to you every year too.
Yeah, and that donor base I found a creative way that works when I start my email campaign out to people. Everybody has an ego, right? Some are bigger than others. And what I've found in typical groups of people that know each other, they will tend to, and I've seen it kind of change year over year, but they'll tend to donate what other people in that group are donating. So one of the things that I will do, they'll look and say, oh, so-and-so gave X amount, so I can't go lower than that, I'll give that. Or sometimes even I'll do it. I'll look to my top donors. I'll send the requests out to the top donors first, because then you get larger amounts. As other people come in and donate, they will look to see who's donating what. And I've noticed that all of a sudden, like last year, I had a group of people that were about the $100 range. This year they're 200 because that's what started. So that increased that donation. So I go to the top donors first and then let that build up and then build up from there. One of the creative things that I don't do, or haven't done, but one of our teammates has done is he'll send out requests tied around to all his coworkers. He works for a big company, tied around either bonuses or raises. So if the company's sending out bonuses at a certain time, right after that, he sends out the request. Or if there's a certain time when they give raises, when people have extra disposable money, they're more willing to give. So that's really a good time to hit them. Or now, or like April, as people start to get refunds back from taxes. So you don't want to wait until mid-June because there's some other opportunities to take advantage of from a fundraising standpoint.
Wow, those are all great ideas. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, you guys are hitting on all the questions before we get to ask them. So this is fantastic.
No doubt.
But I was trying to lead in when I asked about, what do you do when people say no? Sean had started off saying, he was afraid of hearing the no's, and you other guys both said you don't hear very many no's. So the people who are, if you're scared about getting a no, you're probably not going to get one. You might get some people who ignore you and don't never make a donation.
Okay.
Sorry. But don't be afraid of the no's, because they're few and far between. And if somebody does say no, they probably got a good reason. They just lost their job, or they've, they're, just money is tight, whatever. And that's okay. Tell people, hey, I understand, think about me next year, or ask them, hey, would you be interested in writing or volunteering? Those are the kind of things you can lead up to. So I got one question here that we didn't, well, somebody touched on it, but have you had a lot of success with the matching gift program? A lot of companies do the matching gifts, but I've only had a few come through, although one of them was really big, so that helps. Has anybody had any success with the matching gift program?
I have at the two companies I worked at before I went to the Fed. They did have matching options, which I easily took advantage of. I used to work at Farmers Insurance actually about 10 some odd years ago, and they had this program where part of the panel wherein you would vote on who would get this certain donation and who wouldn't, and mine was like the most popular, and that's how I was able to get those donations for Pan Ohio and the ACS. And then I went to Newark Element 14, and they had a matching option up to $800, which I took advantage of every year too. So it's reaching out to your company, reaching out to your HR department to ask them what's available. Can you do this? And I really wish the Federal Reserve would have this system, but luckily they allowed me to reach out to a lot of people at the Federal Reserve, and that's been kind of my matching donation option. And to be honest with you, it's actually been more than a matching donation because they exceed that every year.
Yeah, I used to work in Cleveland, so that's how I got involved with this ride. And my company doesn't do matching gifts, but what they do is if you have a group of people that raise funds together, they will sometimes give a match or at least some significant portion. I mean, one year I got $5,000. And I'm hoping now that the ride is going back to Cleveland, I'll be able to do that again this coming year and get a group of folks together up there to volunteer and then submit for that. I have a few people that donate to me that have matching. They usually, interestingly enough, they usually don't make the deadline. So they end up being credited to my following year, but I've had a few people that do that.
Yeah, I haven't had much success with that. I'm in an industry that's pretty much all small businesses. There is no matching with the associates that I have. A couple people have, they submit it, it comes through, like Mark said, a little while later, sometimes that year, sometimes later, but it's not really been a big program for me.
So I'm curious for you three, when do you guys start fundraising? Is it the day after the Pan Ohio for the next year, or how early in the game do you get going?
I start next month. And the reason for that was mentioned earlier. That's when our company bonus gets paid. So I start hitting people up the day I know we're getting paid. And usually start with all the other groups at the same time. And I find that limits it so that I'm not bugging them all year. And gives me enough time to make sure that I can get back to them a few times.
Yeah, for me, it's similar. I always start mine at the beginning of the new year. I really try to avoid the holidays because people are putting their money toward gifts and other things during the holidays. And I actually purposely wait a few weeks after the holidays because people are still paying bills or what have you. So that way, once that's over with and I tell them what's going on, then they're to the point again that they can donate. Yeah, I have tried doing the year-round thing. For me though, of course, this is just me though. I always want to give the donors a little bit of a break as for fundraising. So that's why I always purposely go to the beginning of the new year for mine.
Yeah, I started just a little before this call, as I told Stacy, I didn't want to come in with a goose egg being a fundraiser, right? So I did, but I've done the year-end stuff just from a tax standpoint in the past, but that's really changed with the whole standard deduction thing. So it's really not much of an issue anymore. So basically I'll start typically around now anyways but fundraising really to me starts with the thank yous after the ride. And I'm not much good in writing, but my top donors get a handwritten note that gets mailed to them. So they get that. Everybody gets a personal thank you. So they're involved with the ride for the next year. And then, as Mark said earlier, I tell everybody about it. So I'm not necessarily asking for the funds throughout the year, but people know me as that guy that rides his bike to Cincinnati. And it's a great story to tell, like I said, and it's a conversation starter. It's kind of cool to know. And then when I get to the actual fundraising, they've been prepped and they know what it's about. And I think it helps to build that. So that's kind of my routine there.
So proof positive, you don't have to start super early, not that we're encouraging that, right, Stacy? But you guys are top fundraisers and you're kind of just getting the ball rolling right now. So good on you guys.
Yeah, thanks guys. Oh, go ahead.
It had come up a couple times about asking and being afraid to ask. And I was, and two things happened. One is, I would kind of I'd get enough to get the jersey. I kind of like the jersey, right? So I was doing that initially. I had breakfast with Jim Bond, and I think almost everybody on here knows him, at one of the rides. We were on the ride, sat down for breakfast, got a chance to talk. He was asking why I was involved with the Pan Ohio, and I told him about missing the other ride, checking this out, thought it'd be cool, and I'm riding. And then he started telling me his story, and boy, did I feel small. Jim, he's about what this cancer society is doing in people's lives and the support that they give these people at these Hope Lodges that we're riding for. The life that he has because of this ride. If you haven't heard his story, I don't know if it's still online, but it's absolutely phenomenal. But with Jim, it's about the fundraising, and it's about the lives that are being changed by the Cancer Society. And after that call, or after that breakfast, I said, all right, I got to kick it up a little bit. And ever since then, knowing what the lives are changing, knowing what we're able to do makes a huge difference. Number one. Number two, we all get just barraged with donation requests, right? Almost every day in the mail, something's coming through. So people are already asking. And the other thing I know is people are already giving. Stewardship is a part of a lot of people's lives. So almost every American out there is donating to something. The problem is they don't know what to donate to because there's so many things coming their way. So they will donate to somebody that they have a connection to. So, and I feel that way myself. You get all this stuff. Somebody asked me to donate to something they're doing. Yeah, I'm in. I may be able to give a little more or less, doesn't matter, but I'm in. So most people are really will donate and looking and just trying to find out where they want to put their money. So that personalized story that you tell them, the personal story on your webpage, all of that makes a big difference to say, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And that makes it a whole lot easier to give, knowing that all you're really doing is allowing them to direct the giving that they would be doing someplace. And so it's really an easy ask for me.
Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know Jim's story or wants to know more about it, he actually wrote a book. It's called The Man in the Arena. You can look it up on Amazon or wherever. And of course, all the profits from that book go to ACS. So it's an interesting read, and yeah, Jim's got quite a story to tell. So I think we need to wrap up this portion, the panel. So I want to thank you guys very much. You've given us a lot of information, a lot to think about, and a lot of ideas for all of us to push our fundraising to the next level. So I think we'll turn it back over to Stacy, and we've got some announcements, I guess, coming up.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Please, yes. Final
All right.
words from everyone, please.
Yes, sorry.
Give yourself a big goal, something that you don't think you can hit. Very important. If I go onto somebody's site, and I've been to a lot of these, and I see they were trying to raise $150, very unlikely I'm going to give $100, right? You're not going to get big donations if you have a small goal. If you have a big goal, I mean, you don't go in there and put, I'm trying to raise $100,000 unless you have an opportunity to do that. Give yourself a big goal, give people a reason to donate. And then when you're getting to it, it's kind of cool to get that, hey, you hit your goal, great, but then immediately move the goal. You always want to give people a reason to be helping once they get to your site.
Love it. Sean, you want to speak to that? You're really good at reach the goal and raise the goal. Final words from Sean on that?
Yeah, in that regards, like I said before, just find your niche, find your audience, and just keep going with it here. Just the thing is, though, just don't stop. I mean, just if you feel like you've hit a rut or you hit a plateau, just keep pushing one way or another here. Keep finding different things that are going to work for you and work for the cause. And I mean, I probably keep saying this over and over again, but just keep at it. And I like Paul's recommendation here, because I did the same thing too. I initially did the Jersey goal and then kick up to 35, then 5,000. So just as we get to that point, just say, hey, we got to get to this goal now. So.
Awesome. Any other final words from Mark tonight?
I just changed my goal to 5,000, Paul. Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
I
I don't have much more to add. I'm
Love
looking
it.
at Kathleen's message.
I started fundraising last week. I asked 3 people. I raised $1,400. So I,
Nice.
but one of the things I'm planning on doing this year, I've never done in the past, I'm going around to small business like you do, Paul. But I'm going to ask if I can speak to everyone maybe at lunchtime and tell them my story, what I'm raising the money for. I don't have to need to collect a lot of money. Maybe it's $2 or $5 a person that works there, but it will all add up. And I'll put all that money under their name, that company's name that is donated. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great idea. So many great ideas. I know, Mark, you said you didn't really have anything to add, but do you have a final thought for us?
I just looking at Kathleen's message here, ask big, keep moving the goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way it works. And I agree. If you set yourself a low target, you're gonna get that kind of response. So be aggressive, and you'll be surprised at how people respond. Mhm.
Well, thank you. Big round of applause to our hosts and all of our panelists tonight and everyone else that's been participating. I know I'm coming out of here feeling pretty inspired and fired up and ready to go be more aggressive. You know, that's definitely something I need, is to be bold and make the ask. And I think, you know, the other thing Kathleen likes to remind us of all the time is that when people are asked, why do you donate to things? The number one reason people give for donating is because someone asked them to. So as much as we can think about all these creative things and restaurant fundraisers and raffles and holding events and stuff, the biggest thing we can do is just be bold and ask people. So thank you all for all of your amazing encouragement and inspiration with that. Thank you. With that, I do have a few event announcements. I don't want to take too long on this, but I want to share some exciting things, especially if any of you are new. And just a reminder, after this, we will be pulling our raffles. So some registered participant will win 5 additional incentive points, and someone new to us will win some awesome POHR swag. So if you're new to us tonight and you haven't yet had a chance to check in with Kristen Hudson and make sure you're on that list, please do so. But with that, I want to just share a couple of event announcements in case, hopefully you've all seen all of this. But I want to make sure everyone's seen the exciting news. I guess, first of all, I think, you know, one thing I'm really hearing from you tonight, and Paul, I think one thing that really struck me in your story is we're doing something crazy. And it's really fun to tell people that you're riding your bike from Cleveland to Cincinnati. And that's something we haven't been able to do for the past couple of years. So we're really excited, if you didn't see this news last week, that we have firmed up our college partnerships for a traveling event, once again, from Cleveland to Cincinnati with John Carroll University, the College of Worcester, Otterbein University here in Columbus, and then a brand new college partner for us at the University of Dayton, which I think will bring some awesome new things to the event. If you didn't see, at the end of this, I can play, if anyone wants to stick around, the video that Sarah and some of the Andes Champions team did from the University of Dayton. We're really excited about this new partnership. Awesome place to hold our recognition dinner. It's going to allow us to make a slightly shorter day 4, which was some feedback we got from our survey that people liked last year. But yeah, we're totally fired up about getting back to our roots of a Cleveland to Cincinnati traveling event, because that is an exciting thing to tell your donors that you're doing. So super excited about that. We also have some new exciting options in our registration levels. Our 4-day rider registration is kind of the lowest it's been at this point, staying at $225 for the rest of the season. We're not going to raise it again, but we also lowered the registration amounts for 2-day and 1-day riders. So if you have friends that are interested, but maybe not interested in committing to the craziness of Cleveland to Cincinnati, it's a much more approachable way to get involved with us for 2 days at a $100 registration fee and a $750 minimum, or for just 1 day for a $50 registration fee and a $500 minimum. And we are keeping that unique create your own 328 experience too for casual riders that want to just ride their miles on their own over the month of July. And if you're a volunteer, or if you know people that want to volunteer, they can sign up for free as POHR supporters. You know, I know Susie usually creates her own dashboard. Volunteers can raise money for the cause too. They're donating their time and talents, and they can fully go ask their friends and family to support their efforts in that. So, you know, obviously there's no minimum, no requirement for that, but it's a great way for supporters and volunteers to join us as well. And the other big thing, if you have friends that are interested in joining us this year, anyone that is brand new to the POHR Hope Ride this year can get a 50% off discount code for any of those registration levels. So if you have someone that wants to check us out for the first time, please have them email the staff at panohioinfo@cancer.org, and we'll make sure they get that discount code. Couple other things, we still have our gifting registration site open if you're interested in giving someone the gift of a POHR registration level at any level. Go ahead and panohioinfo@cancer.org. We'll get you the link to that. And we also do still have our scholarship program. So if you know someone that would be interested, but maybe doesn't feel they can afford the registration fees, we have a fund of people that have made some donations toward that we can help them out with that on. So if you're interested in any of that, email panohioinfo@cancer.org. And then hopefully you saw this announcement last week. We're really excited to expand our Dynamo Club levels this year. Normally, the American Cancer Society Determination Endurance Series had a national pace setter level that was at $7,500. And it turns out that not a lot of people outside of Pan, Ohio were hitting that, quite honestly. So they've lowered that threshold to $5,000 this year, which means every single one of our Dynamo riders is going to be a national determination pace setter, which is awesome. But we wanted to recognize our fundraisers that go above and beyond that. So we've created a couple of new levels this year. Our Dynamo still exists at 5,000 and above, that will get that exclusive Dynamo jersey. They'll get a chance to lead the group out of the start line, and they'll have that recognition as a determination pace setter. And then we've created the Trailblazer level at 7,500, where they'll get all of that, plus free registration for next year's event and an awesome VIP recovery experience that we're going to have at the finish line every day this year. And then at 10,000 above, our Dynamo Beacons will receive all of that, plus a special dinner during the event with an awesome guest speaker. So we're excited about, hey, we had this Dynamo Club, and so many people have exceeded that we want to recognize those people that go above and beyond on that. And our spring fundraising challenge is still going on now. And if you raise $5,000 between January 2nd and March 28th, you'll earn 15 incentive program points. So hopefully you're all well on your way to that. If not, hopefully we're all inspired tonight to go out and make those asks to hit that goal. And then I just want to invite you all to our next enrichment series. We're switching it up a little bit next year. Instead of doing it on the last Tuesday of the month, we are going to have our 328 day celebration on Monday, March the 28th. And we've got some exciting things planned. So next week, we're going to have some awesome news coming out with some events that are going on through all of March. So watch your emails and our Facebook page for that. And on our celebration day on the 28th, we're going to recap. So we just got permission last week from ACS to start holding in-person events starting in March. So we're super excited. We're going to try to plan some local events in all of our markets, probably some training rides and some get-togethers on Saturday the 26th and on Sunday the 27th. So totally watch for details on those. We're super excited at the opportunity to get back to in-person events. And then at our virtual event on Monday, March 28th, we'll recap those. And then we have some awesome opportunity to hear more about the ACS mission. We're going to have some updates from the Cleveland Hope Lodge manager, Kara, with what's going on there. Some of our events during the month of March are going to be supporting the Hope Lodge. And then we're also going to have some awesome speakers to talk to us about some of the programs that ACS has for diversity and inclusion and health equity. So really excited to hear more about ACS, what our money that we raise does for the Hope Lodge, and all the awesome things that ACS is doing. Plus, our usual games, prizes, we're going to have our usual We're in the 328, plus some exciting other Pan Ohio trivia coming up. So it'll be a really fun evening on Monday, March 28th to celebrate 328 Day, but also hopefully that weekend prior to it on Saturday and Sunday, we'll see you out on the roads and trails in our various markets getting together. So that's all I have for announcements, unless anyone has any questions.
A quick comment, Stacy.
Yes.
A couple of people mentioned they haven't, really started their fundraising yet.
Yes.
I just realized that 5 months from now we'll be in Worcester. So it's time to get started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fundraising, it's got to start soon. The training should start soon too, but we got to wait for the weather to cooperate. Yesterday was a good day. Today it rained all day in Cleveland, but and then it's going to get cold again, of course. But yeah, get that fundraising started, and then get that training started too.
For sure. So with that, we'll keep the call open. I have a couple more rounds of We're in the 328 I'm going to prepare, but in the meantime, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen to do our raffles. And then if everyone wants to stick around, I've got a couple more rounds of We're in the 328. You can earn some more incentive points for that, and then we can just have some open social time after that. But yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen to draw our raffle winners for tonight.
All right, thank you so much, Stacy. So our first drawing is going to be to our new participants who are on the call, and Alyssa in our Cleveland office will be able to send you a Pan Ohio swag bag in the mail, and that is to Lavonda. So Lavonda, thank you so much for joining us today. If you could please give us your email address in the comments, then we will be able to reach out to you to get your address. And we're so excited that you won. Thank you so much for being here. And then for our registered participants, for 5 additional incentive points, we're sticking together. The winner is Leanne Dennison. Congratulations, Leanne.
Congratulations. Thanks for that. Does anyone want to win more points with where we're in the 328? This will be a fun one. This is again from our Relay of Hope in 2020. I want you to tell me where along the 328-mile route is this. And while you're looking at that, you might realize, hey, that's a place that we may not go this year. I'm sure you're all gonna miss riding up that hill.
What was the distance though that last year?
The distance that year total in the 2020 Relay of Hope route was 339. Bill's doing the counting backwards from the end. So yeah, the finish line was, at 339 that year. So where in the 339 was this photo taken? Go ahead and throw your answers in the chat. Closest person to that will get a couple of incentive points.
I can name them all.
You know where they are. Some honey badgers. Who's going to miss riding up that hill this year at the end of the day? I won't.
We haven't seen Dayton yet to know if there's a hill.
That's true. Sarah, is there going to be a hill getting up into Dayton this year?
Not as bad, not nearly as bad as that Wittenberg Hill.
Okay, we got some very close guesses, but no one's right on yet. A couple more minutes. All right, get your guesses in the chat, everyone. Where in the 328 is that? And will we miss it this year? All right, 10 more seconds. Somebody needs to be singing that Jeopardy song again.
Do 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 do
Do, 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 do.
All right. And time. Our closest guest, actually, our host with the most there, Bill Wolahan, 3 miles off. Wittenberg was at 258 that year. So that guess of 261 is going to be the closest. I'm going to roll right into the next one. I like to save the hard ones for last. This could be anywhere, right? But this one was special too. I wanted to share this one because that rider on the right there, Rhonda Hobdy, actually, if you didn't see this, was recognized as our very first Dynamo of 2022 this year. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Rhonda. She hit that 5,000 already last week. So congratulations, Rhonda, our first Dynamo fundraiser for 2022. But where in the 328 was this picture taken? Where did Rhonda ride on the Relay of Hope in 2020? Leanne's gonna keep her same. It's just, I like your consistency, Leanne. Something happened at 220. We don't know what. But yeah, I like these hard last ones of, where is that? I don't know. It's Ohio farmland. It could be anywhere. Yes. See, happy Tuesday, everyone.
Yeah, somebody has to pick 222.
Somebody should pick 222. Okay.
Hey, Paul, you copied off of me.
Well, you won last round. I'd copy off of you too. You clearly know things. And again, if more than one of you tie, that's okay. That's the nice thing about incentive points as prizes. I can give away as many as I want. It's for everyone.
Do, do, do,
And again, if everyone wants to hang out, if anyone has questions, stick around after that for open socializing time. Everybody got their guesses in? Guesses in? Going once, going twice? Hi, Bambo. Welcome. Bambo, I'm going to send you a personal message next time when it's time to log in. Is that your guess, 99? All right. Well, I will say all of you people that picked 99 were pretty darn close to the actual answer of 95, but Sandy Wilcox was closer with 93.
Oh,
so
good job, Sandy.
Congratulations, Sandy. Just 2 miles off of it there. It was at 95. That's in Fredericksburg, actually, up in Amish country, there's a little general store on the corner there, the Red Barn General Store or something. And that is where we had our handoff. So congratulations, points to Sandy. With that, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop recording, and we're welcome to stay on if anyone has any questions or just wants to hang out and chit chat and socialize. We'd love to hang out for a while. And again, just thank you so much to everyone. Bambo, you can watch the recording later because you missed some awesome fundraising tips, but good to see your face. And again, if your teammates missed it, share the recording with them, and we'll see you all next month.